There are two places where those with a passion for speed and water could compete. Inshore, on lakes and rivers, or offshore, on the open sea. In the more glamorous resorts of the Mediterranean, the fastest and most spectacular offshore races of all take place each summer. It began in the mid-70s, the preserve of the super rich. They would sail to ports like Venice, Monte Carlo, and Saint-Tropez to spend a civilized weekend racing against friends. For the Italians and the French, it became as much a cultural event as a sport. It aroused the passions of some of the most passionate people on earth. And as the races grew and became more professional, spectators began to arrive. Some came for the glamour. Some came simply to admire the boats. But mostly they came because the sport of offshore racing is one of the most dangerous sports in the world.
Hey guys, we got an accident. Yeah, go ahead.
It has cost the lives of 30 drivers and left many more injured. The throttle man's job is to control all the power contained within the two 900 horsepower engines. With him as a driver who steers the boat, there is no other type of motorsport which has this unique level of teamwork. Open cockpits were used in the early years of offshore racing, but they were notoriously dangerous. The death of Stefano Casiraghi, the husband of Princess Caroline of Monaco, demonstrated the risks.
And I couldn't see Stefano, so I dived in the water and swam over to the boat. And I swam down as far as I could to one side of the cockpit, and there wasn't anyone there. And I went down again and looked over, and Stefano was kind of attached by a cord that he couldn't get out of the boat. He was just floating underneath the surface.
Steve's dangerous career is something his family have learned to live with, as his father explains. The problem with many early racing boats, like monohulls, was their inherent instability. They were also extremely painful. In heavy seas, they could batter the crew until they bled, internally. The competitors arrived together at Saint-Tropez in the south of France to an enthusiastic reception. It will be the first race of the European season. It will reveal if Steve's new boat has its promised potential or not. Against him are 30 teams from all over Europe, from Spain to Scandinavia. Over the weekend, 80,000 spectators will come to Saint-Tropez for the race.
You can't help but not feel this glamour in Saint-Tropez when you see these 200-foot mega yachts and the big sailboats and, you know, the girls walking around with their little shorts on and their bikinis. I mean, you can't help feel that, you know, this is not a bad old life. But I'm here to do a job, you know, so it gets so you don't even see the glamour and you spend most of your time concentrating on what you've got to do.
Race day is as important for the sponsors as it is for the racers. Many of them have paid up to £1 million to put their name on a boat.
The sport as a whole seems to be on the increase. We've got more boats racing every season. We should have 30 Class 1 boats here for the first European race, and there'll be more coming in through the season. So it's got to be on the up and up. It's as short as 5 years ago. We were just getting sort of 3 or 4, maybe 5 boats competitive, and another 5 or 6 which were really uncompetitive. But now we've got 30 boats, and I would say out of those 30, a good 25 of them stand a chance of winning. Hearing that the sea is calm,
Steve makes a last-minute decision to change the propellers. It is a tactic like a tyre change before a Formula One race. The race boats leave for the start line. At 12:30 precisely, the race will begin.
Oh, buddy, let's go and see what she's got. How you feeling? Right, there's a green flag, let's go.
Steve takes a position amongst the front runners, and his boat is performing well. Back in the pits, the team supporters wait anxiously for news on the radio. The owners and managers of the teams follow their boats in helicopters. This is the only way they can see the action as the race is fought out over 140 miles of open sea.
Rougher than I thought it would be. I'm going to change down a second and tuck it down a little bit.
But Steve is not the only racer who has been building a boat over the winter. After 80 miles, his two rivals, the Pedrini boat and Fresh&Clean, are still ahead of him.
It is an incredible feeling. I mean, you've got to do it to feel it. When you've got, you know, a 40-foot boat, 5-tonner boat coming neck and neck, and you're 2 feet away from another boat running 110 miles an hour, it's exciting. You really do run over the limit, and you're just giving it all it's got, but you lose all sense of command when the boat's out of the water and you're just running for your life.
I'm going to go and run for second here. Whoa, let's go for it. Go.
The big push moves him up to second place. Back in the pits, the team managers of the lead boat wait nervously, fully expecting that Steve will overtake before the finish line. Then, disastrous news. A message from Steve.
Lost all its power!
In the final sprint, the boat's been hit by a mechanical problem. Forced to retire, Steve limps back to port.
Well, it's Damiano's day to day, and he ran a great race. You know, he was running hard and strong, you know, and everything stayed together, and that's racing. When it does that, and you win, you can't beat it. And it's early stages yet, and I think that, you know, we're going to push for it. We're going to give it everything it's got. If it's possible that we can do it, we will. Because there's nothing I wouldn't do to win on the water. You know, if I've got to push it that little bit further, I'll push it that little bit further. But you've got to, you know, you just got to win. We're bitter enemies on the water when we're racing. But, you know, we're friends as soon as we get back to land, which I think is important. That's what sport's about.